Real Country 1430 AM and 107.3 FM WRDN. I'm Brian Winnekins as we continue our spotlight on the Brenner family farm just outside of Durand, and thank you to Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin. So we continue our conversation with Tom this morning, and we're going to talk a little bit about how the farm helps protect the water and what some of the things that Tom does as well to help protect the water, really not just on his farm, but throughout Pepin County with a whole bunch of other farmers as well. And Tom, we've talked a little bit about this from yesterday with the cover crops, but that's kind of one of the biggest things you can do to help protect that groundwater is those cover crops have something going on because it benefits so many other things, holding in the water, preventing runoff, preventing nitrogen leaching. And that's kind of one of the reasons why you do all that, right?
Yeah, that's the main goal. And the other reason for cover crops is, when I was starting out with them, my thoughts were I can turn sand into good soil. Well, I might not be able to turn sand into a different soil, but I might be able to make it super sand. And if I can take my organic matter up incrementally, well, it's going to pay dividends over the years. It's difficult to see in the short run, but long-term soil sampling, you can see movement, and that's cool.
And because of that increased organic matter, that means eventually, and it's probably starting a little bit, you do your soil testing on the backside of this. It's like, I don't need as much nitrogen. And that's a big issue in Pepin County in our groundwater. And any less nitrogen you have to use is good for the groundwater.
Absolutely. Organic matter is going to have organic forms of nitrogen in it, which don't leach. And it turns out pretty much any form of nitrogen we purchase is in a very leachable form. So when we put it out there, if the plant can't take every ounce of that up, it's going to slip through the cracks. So a lot of farms are doing some pretty interesting things, and the Watershed Group is trying to help out with some of that stuff, putting things in the right place, the right time, trying new things. It's what the group is really trying to push now is we're open to any ideas people have if we can help with it, as long as we can prove we're using less fertilizer or utilizing fertilizer better. We're all ears. So we'd be happy to have anybody bring suggestions to us or come to meetings.
And again, the Watershed Group is Farmers for Health. And if I'm not mistaken, you're president of the Watershed, which is Watershed Group. But, we had a chance to talk with Don Weiss and, last month. And is your farm like his where I have a sneaking suspicion you're like him. And you know what? Somebody comes up with an idea. Hey, let's try it on my farm.
Yeah. If you feel, I like to try new things as much as I can. But if I can prove that it's going to help with saving some money or help with groundwater quality, if I think we're going in that direction, I'm pretty willing to try things.
And really, it goes back to the cows because high nitrate water for cows isn't good for them either, just like it's not good for people.
Yeah, correct. And we have a long ways to go to correct the problem that Pepin County has. But I think there's enough awareness that even people that may not even have it on the back of their mind yet, it's coming to the forefront. So more awareness, better choices throughout the growing season about how we apply things, and really utilizing the fertilizers in the growing season instead of having leftover stuff that we probably shouldn't have spread anyway because the plants can't take it up. More awareness about what we're doing is our goal.
And so these meetings, when you have the Watershed Group meetings, is it basically everybody, you bring in the experts. I know you work closely with UW Extension. I know, former ag agent Mike Travis, he's a soil scientist. So, I mean, for him, this was, I'm sure he wanted to come out here because there's all kinds of different things that he could look at and explore and that sort of thing. But you work with those experts to kind of work on potential ideas or suggestions on how to improve not only your soil. Improving the soil means you're improving the water quality too.
Yeah, we've brought in quite a few people to speak and different totally different types of presenters. So whether they're from a farming background or from a research background, it's been fun over the years. Everybody gets together and the meetings go pretty well. For the most part, people can take home a pretty good message from most of the speakers that we've had. And, eventually the ball will just continue to roll and more people will be trying new things. And hopefully some of that stem from some of the meetings the Watershed Group puts on.
And the Watershed Group also helps other farmers, like with the rye. I know that in years past, if Brian's farm, okay, I've never done this rye thing, Tom, the Watershed Group will kind of help me out.
Absolutely. That's what our funds are for, conservation, basically. So we try to come up with a new idea each year on how to use our funds, and cover crop seed has always and will always be the staple of what our group does to try and get farms trying new cover crop strategies. But this year we tried to get people to really think about how they're utilizing their nitrogen, and some people in the group are trying some new interesting things on nitrogen applications. So a lot of stuff that's in season, right place, right time, and they will use less nitrogen on their crop this year because of their new trials. But it was put in on the right time and the right place, so the plant will have a lot higher nitrogen use efficiency, and it should be pretty fun to hear about those at the end of the year.
How important you think is precision agriculture? You're gonna have more of that, you think, here on your farm, where you can be driving through the field, and if you're applying nitrogen, the tractor and the sprayer already knows, oh, I'm coming up to a spot where nope, I don't have to put any down, and have all of that variable rate and all of it coming from the GPS?
That would be pretty cool. I don't have much for tech on my farm, but we're soil sampling, and we're trying to scavenge everything we can at the end of the season with having our cover crops and trying to grow them early. One new thing the group came up with this year was we're going to sponsor some aerial applications. So this month and into September, while your cash crops are still growing, there will be some opportunity for some Watershed Group funding if you want to fly on some cover crop seed before you take the crop off. So that should establish the new crop faster, make it more vigorous this fall, and go to work. And it will still be, small enough to where it's not going to affect you combining.
And will that be like rye or clover? Like, you kind of do the mix, or I guess I don't know if turnip radish would work, but I mean, what type of cover crops are they going to be applying via air?
Well, it's really up to the farmer. We don't want to tell you how to do anything or what to do. We just want to promote the practice. So if you have some ideas and you think, well, hey, if the group has some funding for it, well, come talk to us. We're more than happy to try and help.
Again, we're talking with Tom Brenner. That's a pretty cool plan that the Farmers for Health group is doing with the Watershed Group here in Pepin County, and with Tom's farm as well. So we're talking with Tom and spotlighting his farm, the Brenner family farm, just outside of Durand. Tomorrow we'll continue our conversation and wrap things up about some of the other things going on the farm, not only with protecting the water and protecting the soil, but as I look out the window, I see a very nice forest, and I'm thinking that he probably does a few things to help with the wildlife as well. That clover might come into play here on that. We're going to talk with Tom a little bit about that as well here coming up tomorrow morning. And thank you to Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin for spotlighting and supporting our spotlights with our dairy farm families. You're listening to WRDN.